I want to talk to you today about fear and anxiety. I call it the what if syndrome. And right now, I don't think that we've ever had such high levels of fear and anxiety going on. I want to talk to you a little bit about what fear does. Fear is triggered by our survival instinct, and you guys, we're all wired to survive. No matter what we say, we want to survive. And when we feel threatened, that triggers our fight and flight response. It triggers our fear response. Now that's great if you're standing in front of a grizzly bear, but if you're facing an unknown period of threat to coronavirus, say, for example, that is not good for us. It does all kinds of things. It shuts down your frontal lobe, and you need your frontal lobe, you guys, to think rationally through a crisis like this. It puts us into what we call our reptilian brain, or our amygdala, and that's where we just react out of pure instinct. It suppresses our immune system. It affects our cardiovascular system. It affects everything about our health. It triggers biochemical reactions in our body that you can see and taste and feel and smell. That's why you can smell fear with someone. So guys, what do you do about this? How can you get out of this state of fear and anxiety? The what if I get coronavirus? What if the economy fails? What if I lose my retirement? If you're going to navigate these threats, and there's always threats, you guys, you've got to get back into a centered place. So here's 3 easy tips that you can use. The first is just breathe. When we're in fear and anxiety, we tend to hold our breath. We tend to breathe really shallow breaths. And what that does is it changes our biochemistry right away. It changes the pH in our bloodstream, and it creates more stress and more inflammation in our body. So just take a minute to breathe in and let it go. And that changes things immediately. The next thing that you can do is actually just name or acknowledge that fear. We're afraid to do so sometimes because we're afraid that it's going to make us look weak or feel weak or increase the power of the fear. And actually the opposite happens. When we name our fears and we get it out into the light, we shine the light right onto it, it takes the power away. It releases that strangled chokehold on your neck of those fears. Name them, get them out in the open, and then you can start facing them with power and with accuracy. And the last thing that you can do is get centered in what I call the present moment, or now. I want to give you a little illustration. If you can think of your life as a string, it starts over here at the very beginning and it goes over to this end where it ends. You're moving through your life on a little button attached to this string, and that button is what I call your now button. And guys, what we do instead of staying on our now button is we jump off it into the back, into the past, and we start living in regret or remorse of the past. Or sometimes we jump off into the future and we start really living in that what if and fear place. And neither one of those gives you any power. You've got to get back on your button in order to have power for the present moment. And you can do that using your senses. We've got 5 senses, and if you just take a moment and notice, what do I hear? What do I see? What can I smell? What am I tasting? And what can I feel? And that brings you back to your now button. It gives you the power to face your fears. It reconnects your frontal lobe so you can start making good, clear, logical decisions to get through any crisis. You guys, you're not alone, and you're going to be okay.